let's talk about Lil Wayne's willful ignorance. Now, I've seen Lil Wayne as somebody who finds relevant moments or relevant things that are happening and makes defining punchlines out of them. So for him to go around saying that he quite frankly just doesn't know what's going on, I'm not saying that I don't believe him, but there's a reason why I'm using willful ignorance here, which is I think it is a deliberate act to ignore what is going on around you. And to a certain extent, that can be troubling, right? Lil Wayne sat down with Rolling Stone, and I think if most people read this entire interview, it wouldn't leave you feeling great about Lil Wayne. I try to be respectful of legends. I try to be respectful of rappers that I look up to and not just beat down on them all the time. But this one rubbed me off the wrong way. It made me feel like Lil Wayne is someone that seems to ignore anything that has nothing to do with him until it's time for him to benefit off that thing. Now, I know to you guys, you might say, well, that's human trait. That's great. That's whatever. But when you are a public figure, when you are seeking sympathy sometimes for your cause, it doesn't help that people know that you tend to ignore other people's causes or other things that might affect other people. Let's get into it, right? I guess I'll start off here where it seems like Wayne was just not aware of the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef, right? The next up here says, Wayne says that he didn't pay attention to Lamar and Drake's war of words. He said, I'm going to give you the perfect example. I went on stage and I was singing a song and they thought I was dissing. And he's talking about Not Like Us, right? Wayne burrs his face into the arm of a chair while laughing about it, unknowingly rapping along to a Drake diss track. I ain't want my dude to be mad at me, he says. I didn't even know it was Kendrick. Again, you're now aware of a record that's a hit, but you don't know how singing the record could affect other people to the point where us as an audience thought you were saying they don't like us, right? Because we just didn't think you would put your, protege in that position, right? But let's keep going. And this is where I can kind of point to what I said earlier about when you're seeking sympathy from the audience or you're seeking understanding, but you at the same time are not socially or culturally aware of what's going on around the people that are supporting you or what's going on in your own industry. Lil Wayne's made a great career out of himself because of his talent, but just you guys be mindful. I'm not critiquing his talent, saying that how this system works. Because there are people around you that can help you with your talent and make you successful. And there's another example here, but let's just talk about the Super Bowl, right? He talks about how I guess he was a bit upset because he felt like the league encouraged him to be more public facing in preparation for the show. And he felt like that would make him beating the selection inevitable. So again, it kind of shows that trait, right? Like you're willing to be ignorant, you're willing to hide, not be anywhere, but when it can benefit you, he says here that, if you notice, I was part of the things I'd never been a part of, like Michael Rubin All-White Party. I'm doing stuff with Tom Brady. That was all for that. You ain't never seen me in those type of venues. I ain't Drake. I ain't out here smiling like that. I'm in a stew, smoking and recording. He says that after the Kendrick Lamar announcement, someone at the NFL apologized to him and told him we ain't in charge of the Super Bowl halftime show. In this case, I've been very defensive of Lil Wayne's legendary catalog, so I'm trying to use my words perfectly here. But this is probably also part of that, right? You're trying to get to, being in the moment, in aware, in the know-how of everything, that it kind of feels like a little bit last minute, right? But I guess maybe to him, he might think, well, the guy that they chose was he that, out there. So it probably didn't even matter, right? But anyway, let's keep going. And this one, not that many consequences, but he does call Jay-Z a friend. But the interviewer puts it in a way that paints Lil Wayne as a workaholic, right? He says, as a workaholic, Wayne misses a lot. He says, late in the evening, I referenced Jay-Z and Kanye West Watch the Throne. And Lil Wayne asks, what's that? He asks, staring at another SportsCenter replay. The interviewer says, Kanye and Jay-Z's album. Lil Wayne says, they did an album? The rest of the room spends the next 5 minutes playing songs from the iconic 2011 album to jog Wayne's memory. He looks bewildered, trying to decipher the opening moments of Otis, asking Twist if he ever freestyle to it. Though he did recall eventually N words in Paris and no church in a while. Again, now if this is more of a medical thing and Wayne's brain is just a bit fried, then I'll walk it back. But these are staple moments, and I think Lil Wayne wouldn't appreciate if I didn't recognize his staple moments, right? But this one, the consequences are not that grave. And here's really the main piece, and I probably should have started with this one. And when Wayne is recalling two moments, he's recalling when he got the pardon from Trump and meeting with Trump's advisor and Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. He also talks about the recent issues with the COVID grants, etc. But let's just start here, right? He says, as Wayne tells it, former Trump advisor Jared Kushner greeted him before the meeting, told him Trump wanted to pardon him on a federal PPU charge he had faced. And after a December 19th search of his jet uncovered the weapon. Wayne didn't know who Kushner was. You see what I'm saying? Didn't know who Kushner was, but was willing to take the meeting because it would help Wayne. But he did learn that Kushner was a fan who spearheaded the summit and pushed for the pardon. And he says, Kushner was naming exams that he crammed to while listening to him and that how it helped him, Wayne recalls. He was like, I'm not about to watch my hero go to jail over this, right? So in this case, Wayne is willing to cozy up to the Trump administration. And even though he wasn't really aware of them or doesn't know how cozying up would impact the rest of the world, but it felt like it would help him in his personal endeavors, which is fine. Very human, right? But I just find it really interesting that this is your personality. So how do we look at you, and in what ways should we start looking at you, right? Then when you are informed of the situation, how do you act? There was widespread criticism of the photo across social media, right? Did Wayne care? He says, no, I don't care about no backlash, you know what I'm saying, for nothing. You know me, man, he says in a low croak, my mom would have been mad if I ain't smiled. That might have been the only backlash I would have been worried about. You know what I'm saying? Then they asked, would you have joined, his rap peer Nelly in performing the inauguration? He says, yeah, I was asked, but I got something to do. And you know what I mean? It's that type of thing. And here is the what I was talking about as far as the COVID grants. Wayne is similarly curt when I asked him about a recent Business Insider report that detailed how Wayne spent the funds that he received from the shuttered venue operations grant, which aided struggling venue artists and performing arts businesses that lost revenue due to COVID quarantines. According to the report, Wayne spent the money on private planes, luxury clothing, hotel trips to various women. Wayne looked generally perplexed. Again, willful ignorance, right? And I don't know what that means, he says. And then Marsculio, I believe that's Wayne's manager, one of his handlers, quickly interjects, stating he ain't got nothing to do with none of that. He don't know nothing about that. It's not the way his money comes in and goes and none of that. But everything's been audited and it's clean. It's done over and it's over. It's just people fishing. If you're not famous, they're not talking about it. Wayne should be able to answer those questions. Again, willful ignorance. It shows me that, and I get it. Wayne came in the game when he was young. But, I still respect Wayne. I have a lot of love for his music and the impact he's made on culture. But this is something that we should be able to talk about with nuance and point it out, and that it's a bit problematic. Okay? Good talk.